Okay, so in this part of the video we're going to be creating some additional pages, and then we're going to be using our or some logic to protect against these people that haven't logged in or registered and logged in from accessing these pages. And these pages I've created just as an example are downloads, forum and contact us. Now they don't have anything in them at the moment, but because we have our templating system we can just duplicate over some code, and it's relatively straightforward to just create these new pages. So at the moment we've got index and we've got our register page and also our login page, which all have templating systems. If I just click on that, down here you see we're including the header, including the footer. We already know this. So let's go ahead and pick a slightly simpler page, which is index. Let's go ahead and just copy this, and we'll go ahead and we'll paste this into a couple of other files and just go ahead and save them out, just so we've got some content there. So let's go ahead and paste this into a new file, and I'm going to save this as downloads.php. Let me just bring up the menu within our includes, and then you can see, so we've got index, which we've already created. We need to create downloads, forum and contact.php. Now downloads and forum are going to be protected, contact is not going to be protected. We're just adding it as an example to say, well, anyone can access this contact us page, but to access the downloads or the forum you have to be logged in. So downloads is now done. Let's just go ahead and change the header in here. Let's just leave it like that, and let's go ahead again and create a new file here called forum.php, and again I'll just change this header. Perfect. Close these, we don't really need them. And the last one is contact, and this doesn't need to be protected, so we can just say contact. I'm just going to say contact details, and I can go ahead and save that, and we don't actually need to do anything with that because it's going to be accessible regardless of the user being logged in or not. Okay, so now what do we do? Well, we've got all these files. Let's just go ahead and visit them. So we've got downloads, forum and contact us. Oh, let's just see how I saved that. I think I might have contact.php. Oh, that's odd. I've saved it inside of include, so I'm going to cut that and just paste it over here. Brilliant. Okay, so right, so we've got our 3 pages. Now we need to protect downloads and forum. So how do we do this? Well, what we need to do is we need to redirect the user to a generic page to tell them that they need to log in to access this specific area. We don't want to repeat the same logic on every page because it's going to mean we're going to duplicate a lot of code. So it makes more sense to create a generic page that allows us to just say to the user, sorry, you need to log in to access that area, and then whatever you want to put on there. So we're going to go ahead and create that generic page just quickly, and then we're going to create a function that will just be able to call at the top of every page that we want to protect. And this function is going to check if the user's logged in, and then if they aren't, it's just going to redirect them to this generic page that we're creating. So again, we go ahead and we need to copy and paste. We should have done this in the last step. Just copy and paste the generic template here, paste that in, and I'm just going to say here, sorry, you need to be logged in to do that. Please register or log in. Okay, that's fair enough, and I'm just going to call this protected.php. Okay, call it whatever you like. Protected.php is probably not the friendliest name if anyone was seeing it in the URL bar, but there it is. That's essentially it. So when I click on downloads and I'm not logged in, like I'm not at the moment, I want to be forwarded to that protected.php page. Same with forum and contact. We're not going to include this functionality. So let's go ahead and open up core, functions and general. This is essentially we're just gonna create a function in here that's gonna allow us to redirect the user, and I'm gonna call this function protect page. So function protect page, and this is this is extremely straightforward. All we're now doing is we're calling the logged in function, which we have inside of users.php. Let's just go and find it. We're calling this function within this function, so we're going to say if logged in is equal to false, then we want to use the header function and redirect the user to protected.php, and then we want to exit. So by placing this at the top of any page that we want to protect, we are going to be checking if the user's logged in. If not, we are going to be redirecting them. Now, as I've said, the reason we've put this in a function is because otherwise we would have to duplicate this logic that I've highlighted on every page that we want to protect against. And obviously it's not good to reuse code over and over again. So we're going to be using this protect page function. So let's go ahead and open up the files that we want to protect. And that is forum and downloads. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of this, and get rid of this, and get rid of this. So at the top, what do we want to do? Well, do we want to load the header before we do this functionality? So do we want to put our check here, or do we want to put our check here? Well, it obviously makes sense to put it before we load in the header file, because we actually, we don't want to display any data to the user or any information or anything, any design to the user, unless they're logged in, because we're doing a redirect here. There's no need. So logically, we place it here. So all we're going to do is we're going to call this function protect page, and that's it. That's all we need to do. So we'll do the same for downloads, and that will just call, that will just check the if statement, so the condition will be checked. If the user isn't logged in, will be redirected. So I'm back on home. Contact us isn't protected. When I click on downloads, you see that we're now redirected to protected.php. And the same with forum as well. When I click on that, we're redirected to protected.php. So these two pages are now protected. Now, on the opposite end of the scale, let's just go ahead and log in and check that this works. So Alex and password. There we go. So now I can click on downloads and forum, and I can view this content as I please. So I'm logged in and it's allowed. But what happens if I now go and I now try and access register.php? Well, this doesn't make sense, because I can register again and I'm already logged in, and it just looks a bit messy, and it's not the sign of a well-structured application. So we are going to protect against this register page being accessed if the user is already logged in. So we're doing it, the opposite way round. So let's go ahead and open general.php back up again. And this time we're going to create a function similar to protect page, but it's going to be the opposite way round. So it will be function, and I'm going to call this logged in redirect. And we're going to say if something, and that is if logged in is equal to true this time, not false. So we want to check it if the user is logged in. Now, if they are logged in, what do we want to do with the user? Well, we aren't going to be too friendly, because we're going to assume that they're trying to access a page like register.php, by typing it into the URL bar, by purposely trying to access it. You might want to include a generic friendly error, so sorry something went wrong or something like that. But for now, I'm just going to be lazy, and I'm going to redirect them back to index.php, and then I'm going to exit underneath there as well. So now I can include this logged in redirect function on any page that I want to protect against. So I can just go bloop, pop that in there, and I've called that function. So now when I'll just return to the index page quickly. Now when I go ahead and say, well, I'm logged in, but I want to go back to register.php, nothing's happened, because it was that quick. It just redirected us back to the index page. Say I'm on contact.php and I try and access register, takes us straight back to the index. So that's how we can do that as well. The other one is login.php, and it says we tried to log in but no data received. Remember, we set this error up earlier within our errors array, but we don't want to show this. It's unnecessary to show this. So we'll go ahead and we'll open up login.php, and we'll go ahead and include this function here as well. So when we do try to access this, it goes back to the index page. So what we've done here is we've protected against pages that users shouldn't be accessing if they haven't registered and logged in, and we're also protecting against pages that users shouldn't really be accessing if they have already registered and logged in. So we've covered both bases, and as I said, you can include much more friendly error messages or error pages, or you could, you know, create functions for different things and pass through different errors, and there's all sorts of things you can do, but I'm not going to be touching on that. That's entirely up to you. So that's the end of this part of the tutorial.